And we're back. Welcome to the Pitchy Podcast. We are your hosts, James
and Stephanie.
Here on the Pitchy Podcast, you know how passionate we are about good music and a great vocal. And while we are on our little summer solstice or summer hiatus from The Voice, which we'll be picking up in a few short weeks, we got together. Stephanie and I said, you know, what can we do to pass the time and to have a little fun while we pass that time?
Right.
Well, Stephanie reached out to her wonderful brother. Shout out to Phil Washington, holding it down with the ultimate March Madness type bracket of the best gospel singers / groups. Well, we said, you know, what is mine and Stephanie's favorite genre of music? And we said 90s, early 2000s R&B. So we were like, you know what? Let's do a battle royale, a March Madness bracket of the 90s, 2000s R&B groups.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been tediously, sometimes painfully, working our way down this bracket. And here we are. Today's episode is all about getting us down to the final four. Once we get to the final four, that's when it all needs to make sense. Well, we'll get down to the final two.
Yeah.
We will crown our grand champion.
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, how you been?
I'm good. This is probably the first time we have ever recorded that my house is completely, totally empty and quiet.
Yes, yes. Come on.
Praise the Lord. Come on, pre-K. Come on, first grade. Yes. Pre-K 3, I should say.
And I always say we are real people with real lives.
Oh, yes.
It is nice to have both of our homes where the childrens are back in the schools.
Thank you, Lord.
Some of our childrens are going to school for the first time.
Yes.
Which gives actually a little quiet time in the house.
Yes.
I do want to give a special shout out to my partner in crime, who just celebrated her birthday. I'd be remiss if I didn't say happy birthday, Stephanie. Happy belated birthday. Holding it down for the September babies.
Yes.
And we're just so excited. And welcome to the...
Or, yes. 40s. I'm proud to say the 40s.
40s.
Yes.
Welcome to the 40s.
Yes, yes. Thank you, friend.
I hope you had a wonderful, relaxing, quiet day.
I did.
Because I know your 40th, or your 41st birthday was also your baby boy's first day at school. So.
Yes, he blessed me with a birthday gift of quiet.
And I'm assuming Starbucks as well.
Yes, I got my free Starbucks. Yes, it was a glorious day.
So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. Again, this is getting us down to the final four, and the stakes get higher, and this one was a little difficult for me. And if you all remember, I still have the power of a veto if I do not agree with Stephanie's choices.
Right.
So far, Stephanie has... she's gotten all attorney on me, and I pleaded her case in previous rounds where I thought I was going to have to use a veto, but because she litigated so well, I was not forced to use my power of veto yet. Mm-hmm. But if you are just watching this for the first time, what basically Stephanie and I are doing is we are bracketing off singers from the 90s, early 2000s, groups from the 90s, early 2000s. And we are taking sections of the bracket, and we're choosing our personal selections to move on to the next round, where Stephanie paired these up randomly. And some of the randoms were just killer for both of us.
Yes.
And we whittled them down. Now, we threw a little wrench in it that once Stephanie or I made a selection with our first section of the brackets, we flip-flopped. Where I then chose from her choices from the previous round, and she chose from my choices from the previous round. And here we are flip-flopping again.
Right.
Off of our last choices to bring us down to the final four. So here we sit, here we stand. In Stephanie's bracket, which is the purple, she has between the supergroup 112 and the other supergroup, these are all supergroups, 112 and Brownstone. And then going down below that, I have the Shai and Zhane
Yes.
group pairing. And then moving to the other side, Stephanie has Blackstreet and Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
Again, two incredible choices to choose from. And then my final round, my dreaded round of Men and TLC, which were respectively, believe it or not, the two largest groups in the 90s, men and women, are paired up against each other. So this is just impossible.
Right.
So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Stephanie, and she's going to talk about her first pairing. Stephanie, it's all about you.
So my first pairing is between 112 and Brownstone. Oh, man.
I know both of these groups hold a very special place in your teenage heart.
Absolutely. And I think that my next match is probably seemingly a little bit more tricky. Mm-hmm. But 112 and Brownstone were the soundtrack to, like you said, my preteen and teenage years, like literally. So, as I said in the last episode, we have two pieces of my heart joined together. So this cannot be a heart decision for me. I have to litigate and I have to use data in order to make a good decision.
Stephanie, I wouldn't, oh gosh, I just don't know how you're going to do this, but I know you got to do what you got to do, and I know you've made a choice. And so far, Stephanie, I have not disagreed with any of your choices. Did you notice, Stephanie, that each pairing of whether it be yours or my pairings, these are female groups against male groups?
You're right.
Just noticed that looking at this list, I said, wait a second.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the boys against the girls.
It's the boys. Absolutely. All right, so let's see who wins. So let's start with 112. 112 was a group. I didn't know this, but they were based out of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. They were originally on Bad Boy Records, which is Diddy's record label, and then they moved in 2002 to Def Soul. So 112 with our beloved Slim and the rest of the...
Not going to do any imitations this time.
Okay,
Slim,
not this time.
We love you.
We love you.
It was not to make fun. It was to talk about how much we just love your voice, and your contribution to 90s R&B was gigantic.
Shoot, I'll do it. I know. Listen, we do the I know out of adoration.
Yes, we do. Yes,
out of love and adoration.
Love that man's voice. Love it.
Absolutely. So, 112, I believe I said this before, they had 7 albums. They had close to 6 million records sold. Mm-hmm. They were Grammy nominated for Peaches and Cream.
Yes.
But they actually won for their contribution to I'll Be Missing You, which was with Faith Evans and Diddy. The Biggie tribute
on that. Harmony was so tight on that part. Yeah,
it was so tight. It was so subtle, but it was so impactful. Like it was a grounding kind of like just something that you would just sing along to.
It was crazy. Those harmonies were so tight. It's so funny. You triggered a memory. I was in music school. Music college when that dropped, and I remember a bunch of us, because we thought that the track, the vocal track was so tight, we would like write additional harmonies off of put in like a major 7 tonic whatever, we put in some crazy chords and built off of that because it was so tight. Oh gosh, Stephanie, the memories.
Yeah. So they won their Grammy for I'll Be Missing You. Here were some of their hits and where they fell as far as their peak position on the Hot 100 Billboard. So Only You, topped out at number 13, along with Cupid. Cupid topped at number 13. Anywhere. We can't help it, y'all. We can't help it. If this whole tournament was a don't sing challenge, we fail. We fail miserably.
Terribly.
Anywhere topped out at number 15. Peaches and Cream.
Yeah.
Peaches and Cream topped out at number 4. There were 3 albums where they had at least one hit on.
Yeah.
So massive success. Moving on to Brownstone. Brownstone was founded in LA. Their original members, I'll just call them by the nicknames that were listed. We had Mimi, Maxie, and Nikki. Those were the original members of Brownstone. They were signed to Michael Jackson's MJJ music label around 1994. They had 2 albums, and they sold a little over 1 million records. So their top 3 hits were If You Love Me, that topped out at number 8. Say it, do it, show it, prove it. Oh, I wanna love you, baby. Goodness.
I tell Stephanie's home alone today. She's yelling. She's hollering.
Listen.
Got the house to herself, y'all.
Got the house to myself. I think I mentioned this before when we talked about Brownstone, that they made me feel like I was a grown woman singing at like 13, 12.
Absolutely.
Like I felt like I was a grown woman singing these songs.
Grown folks music, right?
Yes. Their hit Grapevine only got up to number 49. Now this is on the top 100. I did not do like the R&B. I'm sure they were much higher on the R&B charts.
R&B that was played. That song was played on the urban contemporary radio stations. I mean, it was always playing.
Absolutely. And then 5 Miles Till Empty again is probably really high on the R&B charts. Before the regular pop charts, top 100, they were at 39. So we are in a situation again where, like I mentioned before, 2 pieces of my heart. I can't decide. This is like deciding between my 2 children. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that.
Never.
So what I have to do is base my decision on the data from, again, Wikipedia. Shout out to Wikipedia. So because of the amount of success and top hit records that they had, I'm going to have to go with 112.
Yeah, I was like, girl, if you don't do that, you don't do that thing. I was like, okay, because I was prepared. I was prepared to use the veto.
Yeah, I mean,
with Brownstone and 112, but I have not had to use that veto. Yeah, it's to me, 112 could release an album today, and because of Slim's voice alone, like
absolutely,
and it would just bump and get us on the floor.
Absolutely,
because that's one thing about 112. A lot of their music was dance music, which was a big part of the 90s, early 2000s. And cars wasn't bumping in the clubs, right?
Yeah. So. And like we said about Jagged Edge, I believe their singles, their hits had staying power. When they were released, like they stayed popular for a long period of time. So
they sure did. Mm-hmm. Good choice, Stephanie. Good choice. All right. So our first Final Four member is
112.
Based 112.
Yes.
It's like, Atlanta was like the 90s mecca for R&B music. It really was. Most things were coming out of Atlanta and coming out of LaFace Records and Alice Austin and all of them, and Jermaine Dupri and all those crazy producers.
Right.
So I am moving down right below Stephanie, and I'm going to talk about our Hometown Boys, another Hometown Boy group or dude group out of Howard University, and I'm going to talk to Shai with an and then they are going up against my alma mater's singers, Zhane. So as you can see, I'm stuck between, do I go with my hometown DMV dudes or do I go with my college ladies? So giving you a little bit of background on Shai. Shai, If I Ever Fall in Love was their first album, and it dropped it hit like a tsunami. It hit so hard because, like, I believe me or Stephanie talked in one of the previous podcasts. This was it was a cappella, number one, and it was just them, but it was totally 90s.
Yes.
Like a 90s sound, but an homage to the doo-wop groups of the 50s, 60s, and then the soul groups of the 70s. These gentlemen all met at Howard University. Shout out to HU.
Yeah.
You know, Hampton would say HU as well, but then the Howard University is like the real HU. But we're not going to go there today with the HBCU battle.
No.
Yeah, these gentlemen met at Howard University. They put together this a cappella group or singing group, which actually became a super group. The song, If I Ever Fall in Love, was number 2 on the Hot 100 Billboard charts.
Wow.
Number 2. That means of every song that was ever on the chart, be it pop, country, rock, every genre of music, this song made it to number 2. It was everywhere. It hit like I said, a monsoon or tsunami, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Another thing, Stephanie, is that there was a remix with music to this song. If you remember, Stephanie, the original started out with do da da do do do, right? Of course. And Stephanie's like, how could you not forget that? The remix, Stephanie, if you remember, it started out do. You don't remember it?
I don't know that I know the remix.
The very first time. And then you go back and listen to the remix. You might want to put the remix on the podcast for people to hear. Because after the a cappella version, they actually re-released the song again because the song was so huge. And released the kind of the studio album version of it.
Right.
It was called the remix. But by far, I'm so glad that the a cappella version was the original version.
Oh, me too.
Hear the talent that came out of these gentlemen. But they didn't stop with If I Ever Fall in Love, which obviously was their biggest monster hit. They actually had 3 pretty big hits on that first album. That's why that album made it all the way to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 200. So it was number 6. It was like top 10.
That's big time.
All the charts. And that album, not just the single. Single was not good because they came out with Baby, I'm Yours If You Want Me. It's early in the morning that we're recording, y'all, so I'm not singing in the real octave, so I have to take it down a little bit.
Listen, know thyself. Know thyself. Come on.
And thyself will be true with the Voce this morning. But yeah, Baby, I'm Yours was another one of their hits. And then I already talked about this on the previous podcast. If you don't know the song Comforter, which was another hit of theirs, a moderate hit, but not a monster hit like Baby, I'm Yours, and of course, If I Ever Fall in Love. Comforter is just pure, sexy 90s R&B. Like, you gotta listen to this song. It is so fly. So, and then Shai never really, from their first album, they never really had the huge success. They kept sang together for years. Came out with quite a few albums thereafter, did some collaborations, but they never had the monster success. And I love that they weren't just a one-hit wonder, that they were a one-album wonder.
Yeah.
We got people like the biggest people in the game, like I don't know, Lauryn Hill's like the first person I think of. She's only done one studio album ever, right? Now she did it unplugged, but of all new songs, but studio she only did one. So to have a monster album is to me all about the staying power,
right?
So moving on, I'm gonna take y'all on a little quick journey. So I started applying for colleges in the early 90s, early to almost mid 90s. I was in college in the mid 90s to late 90s, but I started applying for colleges, and there was, I think it was my junior or senior year of high school. There was a monster song on the radio named "Hey, Mr. DJ," and I mean, the cars bumped it, the clubs bumped it,
Yes.
and it was just two voices, two female voices, and um, their voices to me were so good that it sounded like there were more singers singing. Two of them, if you think about it.
That's very accurate.
And just, I mean, everyone bumped this song.
Friday night and the weekend's here. I need to unwind. Where's the party? Hey, Mr. DJ. Yes.
Hey.
Come on.
So shout out to Zhane, pronounced Zhane. And it's something interesting. I did a little research that they came up with the name. It was, their names were Jean and Renee. So
there you go.
Zhane as their name. And it sounded good. But they had everyone thought, Stephanie always makes a joke, says Zhane. Everyone called him Zhane because they put a Z in front of it to make it, to make it fancy and
yes,
exotic.
Yes.
But it was just basically Jean and Renee, their names together.
Yeah.
And which was kind of cool. So Hey Mr. DJ was by far their biggest hit. Their first song, it another monster hit. This song actually made it all the way up to number 6 in the Billboard Hot 100.
Oh, wow.
Stuff. And again, that's of all songs.
Oh, yeah.
So if it was number 6 in the Billboard Hot 100, it probably was number 1. I didn't check this, but it probably got to number 1 or close to number 1 in the R&B. Probably the dance charts too. I mean, because the song was as big of a dance hit as it was a pop/R&B hit.
Right.
And then pronounced Zhane went gold. And then ironically, I did my research. 2 years after this album was released, it went platinum. So
really?
Staying power. Because it wasn't just one-hit wonders. They came out with Groove Thing. It's just a groove thing. It's so funny. When that first song came out, because of the diction, I always thought they were saying group thing. Like, it's just a group thing. Like, oh, it's a group. We're hanging out. We're a group. No, groove.
Groove.
ROOVE.
Yeah.
Groove thing. And then one of my, because it was so smooth. Sending my love to you.
To you. Yes.
You're sending my love.
Yes.
Y'all, their harmonies were so tight. So back to my little story. I digress for a second. So I was applying to all these music schools. So I wound up going to Temple University, Esther Boyer College of Music. So when I went there and auditioned, they handed out, when I went to do some college visit tours, they handed out a CD. And it was like the best singer, the best artist and instrument, whether they be instrumentalists, singers, or whatever, that came out of this music school. And there was a jazz selection on this, and one of them said, someone and then Jean Norris, I think is her last name, were the singers on this. And somebody handed me the CD and says, hey, it's a free CD if you're interested in coming to the school. And they said, now this person right here, do you know the song, the group Zhane, Hey Mr. DJ? Yeah, she goes to this school. I was like, oh my God, I go to school with somebody famous. So I came back, of course, and I was telling everybody in my little Maryland suburb school, I was like, oh my God, I just went and auditioned for a school. And Zhane, because the song was like big right then.
Right.
Zhane, they went here. And not only did they go here, one of the singers went to this music school. So,
right.
So I'm so geeked about it. And so I have so much love for them. Some other things that I didn't know, that Zhane did a song, a remake, kind of a remake, but not a remake, from the movie. There was a movie in the 90s with Keenan Ivory Wayans and Jada Pinkett Smith, or Jada Pinkett at the time, called Low Down Dirty Shame.
Mm-hmm.
They did the lead song from that called Shame, which was actually a kind of a cover of Evelyn Champagne King's song Shame, burning, let the burning,
Right.
70s disco hit.
Yeah.
So they did this, and I went back and listened. I was like, oh shoot, I remember this, because that song actually made it in the top 40 of the pop charts, of the Hot 100 charts. It was a top 40 hit. So
okay.
Yeah, anyone that's in the top 100, you had a song in the top 100, you've arrived.
Right.
And then they did some collaboration with Queen Latifah. They did collaboration with De La Soul. Another thing that I didn't know is that Zhane, actually before Hey Mr. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fred, or Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff, because they're all Steph's people. I call them Steph's people because they're all Philly folks, right? So they're all Steph's people. He actually was the first person to hear them sing together. He gave them a cut of a song called "Ring My Bell" that Will and Jazz did. Believe it or not, it was on their same album as "Summertime." So if y'all know that the Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince's biggest hit was "Summertime" of all time. That song that Zhane sang the hook on was on that album.
Oh, okay.
Little history about them. So, where do I go? I got my hometown boys. I got my.
Where do I go? What must I do?
Twin references all through the thing. Well, I gotta go with Shai. I gotta go with Shai. Yeah. I gotta go.
Why?
I gotta go with Shai because Comforter is one of my favorite songs of all R&B times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You surprised me. You surprised me.
No, I gotta go with Shai. Ugh.
Oh, my word. Okay.
I gotta go with Shai because If I Ever Fall in Love is a timeless song.
Listen. It sure is.
It's a timeless song.
It sure is.
It is a song. But then again, so Mr. DJ is a song that you could put on. Both those songs, both their number one hits, their biggest hits are songs that you could put on and everyone would sing. That's
absolutely true.
Everyone would sing And If I Ever Fall in Love. Because it's one of those songs that everyone thought they were a singer.
No, because you get to that chorus and they're like, and it by it. Like, made you think that.
My. I'm gonna hit the note, y'all. My friend. No.
Come on. No, you're absolutely right. Male and female.
That note.
Yes.
Ooh, Stephanie, how many times were we like, oh.
Ooh, like you just, almost.
Stephanie and I, how we feel about people in pitch.
Come on.
Everyone thought they had that. Yeah, I had to go with Shai because also I'm taking a little bit of direction from Stephanie. As far as pound for pound, they had the bigger hits. They had more hits. They had the higher placed album in the charts as well. And I think that Shai can battle 112 all day long. So let's go, Stephanie. It's back with you, my friend.
Okay, so my last battle is between Blackstreet and Destiny's Child. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Come on, no diggity. You got to bag it up.
Down.
Come on. Like you said in a previous episode, I'll start with Blackstreet. Like you said in a previous episode, anybody's going to get up and dance to No Diggity.
Yeah.
From, like you said, the grandest of grandmas to a baby my son's age. Yeah. Like, it's just that bop. It's just that song. Yes, it is just that song. Blackstreet was founded in New York City in 1991. Two of the founding members were Chauncey Hannibal and Teddy Riley, both producers at the time.
Teddy.
which is really interesting. Like two producers, you know, forming a group with a couple other gentlemen as well. Just shows you the massive amount of talent within that group, not only vocally, but producer wise. They've released 4 albums. They sold over 6 million records. Their biggest hits were Before I Let You Go. Oh, I love that song. Before I let you go, can I get a kiss tonight, baby? Come on. That hit number 7 on the Hot 100. No Diggity went number 1.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. And Don't Leave Me. Now, this is the only one that I was like, wait, I know Don't Leave Me was somewhere. Don't Leave Me was number 1 on the R&B charts.
Oh, of course.
Okay. That Don't Leave Me, girl. Come on.
The famous musical hook that's been used so many times. Do 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 do. Listen,
I could just listen to that.
Oh,
come on! Now you want to talk about some holleration?
Oh,
that was some subtle and unsubtle holleration on that song. So, you know, massive talent, massive success.
Yeah. But Foster was in Blackstreet too, wasn't he?
I believe so, yes.
He was. Mm-hmm. Just remember.
Yes. So then we get to Destiny's Child. Destiny's Child was founded in 1990 in Houston, Texas. The original members were Kelly, Beyonce, Latavia, and LaToya. When the last 2 ladies left, we brought in Michelle and Farrah Franklin, who we did not mention in the last episode. Farrah shortly left, about 6 months later, and we were left.
She was in the Say My Name video.
She was. She got to do that video, that very iconic video where they are basically sitting and voguing and looking, and it's just everything. And then we were left with Kelly, Beyonce, and Michelle.
Yep.
They had 5 albums, including their Christmas album. Guess how many records sold? No, My Baby Gay to Me. My Baby Gay to Me. Yes. Come on. I
remember that song.
Love it. Guess how many total albums sold? Or records sold?
Total?
Mm-hmm.
40 million.
Up.
70 million.
Little lower.
65 million.
60 million records sold. 14 Grammy nominations, 3 Grammy wins, 5 AMAs, 2 BET Awards, 2 VMAs, 5 number 1 singles, Bills, 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 Say My Name, Independent Women Part 1, Survivor. Question. The amount of times I quote that is ridiculous. Like, I'll just be talking to a friend, or at this point, my husband gets it too. I'll be like, question. And
part of our vernacular.
Yes. And of course, Bootylicious. Yeah. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. Come on. So if we're talking, you know, again, I can't use my heart.
Mm-mm.
I have to use the data.
Yep.
And the data says Destiny's Child is our winner. The amount of success those ladies had is incredible. They could do another album tomorrow. I hope they do another album at some point, and it's going to be a massive hit as well.
Last week I heard a rumor, Stephanie.
You did?
I heard a rumor.
Don't play with me.
Stephanie, apparently
don't play with me.
Their website is active again. No, I'm not playing for real. Their website's active again, which has led to speculation that there may be a reunion. I personally want a reunion where all 5, even maybe bring Farrah back, even all 6 are like a part. I want everyone there. I want everyone in that, because there is no Destiny's Child without Latavia and LaToya. In my opinion, because Bills, I believe they recorded that Say My Name and all that. They were the voices that were on that album. And then, of course, No, Part 2 is probably my favorite Destiny's Child song. And that's like 1997, 98, y'all. They were kids. They were teenagers when that dropped.
Listen, that thing was hot.
Wyclef Jean beat. I know I talked about it before, but it was such fire.
It was. Say no, no. When I say the yeah.
Every time I see you. The bridge. You break as if you don't want me. I saw that vibrato down. 16-year-old Beyonce.
Come on.
That song was just
it was.
Everything.
It was. Everything.
It's one of those things, when that dropped, it was over. It's so funny. I know hindsight's 20/20, but when you look back, you know when some music drops, like there's just something. And it wasn't Beyonce. It was all of them. There was just
it was all of them.
Thing.
It was all of them.
It was just something. I mean, the whole Beyonce thing came a little bit later, but it was just, I couldn't describe it. Yeah. I'm with you, Steph. I'm with you with that one. I love it. I love it. Because they are going to battle against this impossible choice that I have. So I'm taking a little bit of a different approach.
Okay.
And it's a simplistic approach.
Okay.
Because Stephanie's already run down everything with that and Boyz II Men and TLC, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to run down the staggering amounts of number ones, the staggering amounts of albums sold, the staggering just stats on these. It's like the best versus the best.
Right.
If we're talking albums sold, if we're talking number one hits, right? So I'm not even going to go there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this very simple. I'm going songs written / produced by Babyface for TLC and Boyz II Men. I'm going to stay right there. And I ain't going, and I know, Steph, that makes it even harder because he wrote some of the biggest hits for both groups.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start with TLC.
Okay.
Baby.
Baby.
Digging on You. Red Light Special.
Oh, I didn't know he did that.
Today.
No, I didn't know he did that one.
Babyface wrote Red Light Special.
I can hear it now.
Yeah. I'm not going to do the lyrics because it's a kid show. Like innuendo in this song. So, whatever. So that was just, and then he wrote some others, but those were the three big monster ones. But then, Boyz II Men. Babyface made Boyz II Men, y'all. Come on, End of the Road.
Oh, God.
Which was not even on their album originally. That was on the Boomerang soundtrack, which we've already talked about.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll Make Love to You. And which to me, I sang the opening part of that song to Stephanie last night. I called her. What did I sing? Because it was Stephanie's birthday. Because the first verse of that song is about a birthday.
A birthday.
And then we can stop right there.
Right.
Okay? Because then the song takes a different turn. Water Runs Dry.
That is one of the most brilliant songs I've ever heard in my life. I will never not be in awe of Water Runs Dry.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the video has anything to do with it because they all out in the sand, and that's the first time I've ever seen people just out in the desert, just with their linens flowing, and just it was perfection. Everything about that song was perfection.
Babyface at his absolute songwriting best. Okay, it's like the best of Babyface came out with Boyz II Men songs. Okay, and then of course Song to Mama. Right. Come on. Which, again, this was Song to Mama came out several years after Boyz II Men were at their height.
Right.
It's just kind of put them right back at the top.
Right.
And pulled on everyone's purse strings. And that was from Soul Food.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I mean, we've talked about these groups ad nauseum, at length. And I just, oh gosh, Stephanie, it's so hard, but I'm going with Boyz II Men.
Mm-hmm.
I have to. These songs, even though that's why I was like, what do you do with two perfect groups? Well, I had to. Stephanie already went staggering stats on these groups, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to go through Babyface catalog.
Right.
To do, because honestly, if Stephanie were to have had this and she would have chosen one or the other, I possibly would have used my veto.
Right.
Because either one of these can go all the way.
Right.
One of these. So I got to go with Boyz II Men. And I think I'm in the season of Babyface right now. I'm going to give a shout out to Babyface. Babyface recently did a Tiny Desk that you all must see. Now, there were parts of it that Stephanie didn't really care for, but we're not going to get into that. But it does talk about Babyface's catalog.
Yes, it does.
Babyface does a mashup to show how similar the songs were of I'll Make Love to You and End of the Road. Like he kind of combines them, how the song can just seamlessly flow together.
Right.
And I just thought it was such fire. And those were the two of their biggest hits.
Yes.
Like period. Other than the One Sweet Day with Mariah.
Right.
Those two were their biggest hits.
Right.
And they were Babyface songs. So that's why I'm on a Babyface kick right now. So I'm going with Boyz II Men.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what Stephanie's going to do, because if I'm looking at this Final Four that Stephanie has to choose from, I don't wish it on anyone.
Okay, let's see what we've got.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay, so in our top bracket, I will have Boyz II Men. Am I doing Boyz II Men versus Destiny's Child?
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Listen, here's what we might have.
You know what, Stephanie? We might need to do it together.
I think we need to have a joint discussion on these last two.
Joint discussion, and I think the Pitchies would love that, because you're right. Because there's a lot to discuss with these Final Four, aren't there?
Yes. Yeah.
Stephanie said,
yeah. Hold up.
Don't you dare put all that pressure on me.
No.
Have a talk.
Yes.
And sir.
Yes.
Have a talk. And Stephanie, you're right. Now, the more and more I think about it, the more and more we look, we're down to the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's no looking back.
No turning back.
Stephanie? Guess what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to retire my veto. I'm going to retire my veto. I never had to use my veto, y'all. Can you believe it? We're down to the Final Four. There is no more power of veto. I'm retiring it. I'm done. That's the
wow.
And I'm gonna keep on moving. Don't stop.
Okay.
So here we are, Stephanie. So Stephanie, who is our Final Four?
All right, let me bring it back up again. So our Final Four is Boyz II Men versus Destiny's Child.
Impossible.
And then we have, I don't even want to call them a sleeper match, but a very interesting one of 112 versus Shai.
Very similar.
Yeah, very similar.
That side, which is very interesting how that wound up.
Yes. Wow.
And it's crazy, because if it would have been Brownstone, Zhane, very similar, right?
Absolutely.
Crazy how that wound up like that. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Here we go. Well, that's it, you all. We made it to the Final Four. What do you think of our choices? Please comment on what you would have chosen from the last round. We love your feedback. And we'd love to hear why you would have chosen those groups, even if it was different than what me and Stephanie chose.
Right.
Because we just love hearing from you. And we really appreciate everyone that's listening. And Stephanie and I couldn't be having more fun with this. So
that's right.
Stephanie, tell everybody what they need to hear.
Sure. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be the first to know when we drop a new episode. And also check us out on YouTube. Please search for the Pitchy podcast and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. And last, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Pitchy podcast for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more.
Well, until we meet next time, you all, we're going to crown a champion. Here we come with the 90s R&B March Madness Super Bracket. See everyone later.
Bye-bye.